we had some cancellations today, but we decided we still needed to talk. We still have things to talk about. So get ready for some time with me and Debbie talking about stages of life, lessons learned, ways to show up, and a special meditation for you at the end.
Marci and I always have something to talk about.
Yes.
We showed up here today going to talk about IVF and all kinds of other things. And lo and behold, we talked about our own stages of life. We've been here for a little while. And I think at this stage of the game, we have a little wisdom to share. So listen in and share some time with us on the Warrior Parent Podcast.
Yes. Thank you for that.
The world is a lot right now. Are you feeling it? We all need new tools to help us walk through the chaos with grace, ease, and compassion for each other and for ourselves. In this podcast, you'll hear from parents, educators, and other experts who can bring perspective to the monumental job of parenting. It's time to level up and be warriors for our kids and our communities. This is the Warrior Parent Podcast. I'm Marci Mitchell.
And I'm Debbie DiManno. As parents, we understand that it really does take a village to raise our kids. We hope that this podcast serves to create and support that community for you. Join us as we discuss and practice our core tools, which are proven mind-body techniques that can be used by anyone to improve your life on a daily basis.
Welcome back to the Warrior Parent Podcast. We're glad that you're joining us today. We're always happy when you join us. And today we actually had two cancellations from folks who we're going to be interviewing who had some medical stuff come up. That doesn't happen very often for us that we get those cancellations, but we put on our makeup, we fixed ourselves up and put on clean clothes, at least clean shirts that we can be seen. And so I said, well, let's just talk together because we like to do that every once in a while, just share some things, some insights. So we're going to do that. And we've been focusing in August on stages of life. So Deb and I know a lot about that. We've been through quite a few stages of life. And so we thought we'd chat about that. So welcome, Deb, to the Warrior Parent Podcast.
Wow. Like, what could we possibly talk about? Are we going to pull up some old skeletons from the closet or
whatever comes out, comes out. We have committed to being authentic, organic, and talk about all the stuff. So
all the things. Well, first of all, for all you listeners, Marci just celebrated her 30th wedding anniversary yesterday, and talk about stages of life.
Yeah,
I have
it
not.
Gets you thinking.
Yeah, I have not been as fortunate to have 30 years of marriage. I have had several marriages, so we could talk about that a little bit and what that means.
Yeah.
Also, but so
different stages of your life for sure.
So how do you stay married for 30 years, Marci? What's the secret to your success?
For me, I don't know if it's a secret or if it's just being incredibly fortunate to meet someone who was just man of my dreams, as cliche as that might sound. And I met my husband Frank when I was 27. And so we're talking about stages of life, the 20s. I was in the Army. He was in the Navy. We were stationed at a joint assignment in Naples, Italy. It was Operation Provide Promise, which for anyone who may or may not remember, that was the Bosnian airlift back during the Bosnian War. So we were both working in the J2, Joint 2, or with the Joint Intelligence Center, where we were looking at what was going on. And
just by the way, this does not sound very romantic right now, but
I know. Well, it's Naples, Italy. Part. Although if you've been to Naples, it's got a little this, it got a little that. I do remember people driving and throwing their trash, like they're taking the kitchen trash out and then throwing the whole bag just out the window as they drove. So you got to watch for that. But Naples is a beautiful place, beautiful coastline. And it was an interesting time. It was an interesting time because I'm in my 20s, and like I said, 27. I think it was about 25 or 26 when I started to, as Marissa Torme says, that biological clock started ticking. I started thinking about babies, but I was single. And, I had had some relationships, whatever, throughout my 20s, but I just started thinking, in fact, I had been engaged earlier in my 20s and then it just didn't work out. So I think
Yeah.
part of that was like I was ready there. So I was feeling
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But some of that maybe is just about being in that right place when you meet the right person. Yeah.
Well,
Meaning,
mine just
yeah.
Shazam. It was like a
It was
lightning
a
rod.
Shazam. It really was. And
Yeah.
actually, we
Yeah.
were friends for a few months before. It wasn't a Shazam from the start. It was a Shazam from the moment that things kind of started to click. Because I was
Yeah.
actually seeing someone else when I first met him.
Yeah.
He was going through a divorce, and yeah,
Yeah.
it was messy.
But the 20s for me was sort of similar. So I was married first when I was 25 or so, and divorced by the time I was 27, 28. And so I
Mhm.
had that similar feeling, like that
Yeah.
oh, who's gonna love me? Like
Mhm.
I'm divorced.
Mhm.
Like I haven't been able to have my kids yet. Like, just all the things that you sort of dream about in that first like really
Yeah.
bad break. And
Mhm.
I was devastated, absolutely
Mhm.
devastated. And that's when I started my therapy journey and my
Mm.
journey for myself to look
So did
inward.
the divorce kind of led you
Oh
right to
yeah.
the therapy? Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
this is again, these stages. These are the things, one thing does lead you to the other. And
Yeah.
so much of that is about staying open. So I'm so glad that you were able to do that and say,
Yeah.
I need some help. And,
Yeah.
you weren't raised with a therapy lifestyle. There was no therapy in your house when you were growing up, but you were like, no, I want to feel better. I
Yeah.
want to develop healthy habits instead of really unhealthy ones, which is what happens if you don't look at it and do the
Yeah.
work in one way
Yeah.
or another.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, so much of that, I think for especially, women now in their 20s, they have put so much emphasis on their careers, right? Like for the, I had my kids later, so that was really important for me to make sure my kids were educated. That was like mandatory. I don't care what you do, you're just going to get a degree. Like that was sort of my mentality. And
Hmm.
so I think for me, like that became everything for me
Hmm.
because I wasn't married and I didn't have any kids yet. That became my focus. So I was hard charging, like learn, 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 learn. Climb the corporate ladder, do all the things. Like
Right.
so that was a good part of my 30s, I think.
Yeah. So, like I said, when I was in my 20s, I was in the army, and by the time Frank and I met, I think I was thinking, as much I loved the army, to tell you the truth. I really did love so much about it, but there were things I didn't love about it. I didn't like there's something called ticket punching in the army where you got to do these certain jobs, and some of them I just didn't want to do. And this
Hmm.
is how you get your next promotion, and you better do this, and you better go tactical. And I just didn't. I don't know. Life's too short and life's too long, as Daniel Namod says, to
Yes.
whittle away your days or to just work for someone else or do the things that other people are telling you. So then especially when I started to get that little like that nudge about having babies, I knew that I didn't want to be away from them. I didn't want to. And in the
Hmm.
army, you get deployed, anything can happen.
Yeah.
I think the army is very family friendly in a lot of ways, but you're a soldier first. So I was fortunate in that we got married. I had my son, my first child, when I was just 29, so just before turning 30.
Hmm.
And then Frank got out of the Navy, and before that, got a good job. And I knew I was going to get out. And when you are pregnant, that's a get out of the Army free card. You can, even if
Oh,
you time left, which I did, you can say, okay, I'm going to get out. So I did
I
use.
didn't know that. I
Yeah,
didn't know
it is,
that.
or it used to be. I assume it still is, but so
Oh.
I only had, I don't know, I had less than a year left because I had a
Hmm.
scholarship, but I took that, and then I have such a clear memory of my son as an infant and being home with him, and we were in San Diego, and Frank had gotten started a new job, and just thinking, how does he go to work every day? I could not leave this baby, and I was
Mm.
just so in love with him, and I just felt so completely. And I know everybody has their, in no way am I saying like that if you don't stay home with your baby, like, because
Right.
not everyone. I was incredibly fortunate, and we went right into debt. but
Yeah.
because we really did need my income, but I just could
Yeah.
not do it.
Yeah, I think that is a huge thing for women right now.
Yeah,
Even, like I was just discussing, the idea of getting an education is so incredibly important, and I'm so about empowering women right
yes,
now.
please.
Like
Yes,
like
please.
we're not going the other direction. I worked my ass off to make sure women are not doing this. And I have a daughter, and I'm going to make sure she's living her best life, and she doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily need someone to have her best life, right? However she chooses.
right.
But I think for me too, by the time I had this big career and in fact was the breadwinner,
Hmm.
that was incredibly difficult for me. Also, I had all the
Yeah,
same feelings. I was now
yeah.
34 having my first child, and I couldn't stop sobbing. I just couldn't stop sobbing.
Mm,
I couldn't imagine. I sobbed for a month. I couldn't
yeah,
imagine how I could love something so much. Like it
right.
just hurt my heart. The love was so big. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I kind of didn't have a lot of that growing up from my own parents,
Mm,
or
yeah,
what. No, it wouldn't, we weren't that close, but that was brutal. But meanwhile, in the back of my mind, I knew I was going to have to go
yeah.
back to work. But back in the day, I worked for Hewlett Packard. Kudos
Hmm.
to them. But they gave you 6 months off. They were
Oh, that's
yeah,
wonderful.
6 months off. And you didn't necessarily have it all paid, but you could take as much time as you had built up, and then you could come back and have
Hmm.
your position. You didn't lose anything by
Yeah,
being off for that long. So I thought, if I have to do this, I'm going to find the best darn nanny that money can buy.
yeah,
and, I,
yeah,
and I found two of them who were amazing and who helped me raise my children while I had to have that corporate life. So we had very different ways of raising our children.
yeah.
And nobody really knows, I think, exactly how you're going to do it until you're in that
Right,
situation, because things
right.
change too. Like I
Hmm.
never imagined that I was always going to be the breadwinner of the family when I was having kids, but that's just the way it turned out, right?
Yeah.
So, as much as you want to plan all these things, it doesn't always work out. So,
So true. I was 5 years ahead of you in the kids, but the 30s, you get into those child raising years, those when they're young. And of course, you're working too. But for me, the 30s for me was because I had my second son within 18 months. So
mhm.
had Patrick, my oldest, breastfed him, which will often stop you from having a cycle, and then just immediately pregnant again.
Yeah,
So I breastfed for like over 2 years between the two of them,
yeah,
and so that's like a whole other time. And you know what? Those were some hard years. I mean, hard in that, like I was home alone with two toddlers all day, and that could make
mhm.
a person crazy. Raise your hand if you're out there doing that right now. God love you. You can do it. And take time for yourself and then enjoy it. Like
Yeah,
that was, of course, we as older moms, we often think back. Like I feel like even though I was there, I missed a lot. I had a coping mechanism of cleaning. That was like my control thing. So if I
yeah,
could keep the house clean, then I felt like, I don't know, somehow like that's what I did when I got stressed. So
yeah,
stupid because I had two toddlers, as I said, and a big golden retriever.
yeah.
So that meant I was just cleaning all the time. And I even cleaned rooms that we weren't using, which I think back to now. And I'm like, why was I vacuuming the living room every day? Nobody ever was in there. But that was my crazy
Yeah.
mind, my crazy younger mind. And I so wish that I had just spent more time just playing with my kids and not trying to be super mom, because that I had
Yeah.
super mom in my head.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I probably felt a little guilty because I wasn't going to a job. Somehow I was hustling for my worth, as Bernie Brown says,
Yeah.
mowing the lawn, doing all this stuff, decorating the house. Yeah, that is, I mean, I don't like to talk about regrets, but yeah, I would do that
Yeah.
differently if I could
Yeah.
go back.
Well, I think the mommy guilt is real, right? So we
Oh yeah.
have
So
completely,
real.
completely different perspectives on
Yeah.
how we raised our children, right?
Yeah.
Neither one of them was right, and neither one of them was wrong. But that mommy guilt. So yours was, now thinking, oh my gosh, I should have been more present and all that. Like I couldn't have been present if I wanted to,
Yeah.
but I was doing my best. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, I talked about this before. I'm kind of, getting the neighborhood bash from other women who are kind of looking at me while I'm showing up in my suit to every parent teacher conference.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who does she think she is? I'm like, I'm just paying the
Yeah.
fucking bills here, right? Like,
Yeah.
don't do
Yeah.
that. Don't do that to me, right?
Right.
But yeah, but the guilt is real. Like I
Yeah.
look back now and, doesn't everyone tell you this? Like, oh, just
Goes so
enjoy
fucking
the moments. It'll go by
yes.
so fast and whatever.
Yeah, they
And
really do.
when you're in it, I remember the diapers and all of it going, oh my
Yeah.
God, this will
Yeah.
never be over. Like you just think
Yeah.
you can't see out of it. You can't see
Yeah.
past the piles of
Right.
stinky diapers and the dirty clothes and
Diapers or
the
yeah.
and
When someone gets sick and everybody's sick and I
yeah,
have a
this
very vivid memory of when my kids were a little older. They were like 4 and 6, not so old, but and then my two stepdaughters were living with us, and they were teens. And a stomach flu went through the house, and literally everybody was just puking. And I was just walking from kid to kid, and to trying to hand out buckets,
and you're
and
puking too, but you still got to
I
clean up.
wasn't yet, but then all of a sudden I'm laying next to my son while he's in his bed. I'm like, oh God,
Here
I
it comes.
knew it. Like, and I remember having this thought, I can't do this. I can't do this now. And this is going to keep happening for the next 20 years. I can't do it. Like I was so overwhelmed. And
Yeah,
then in my head, I'm like, I want my mommy. And then
yeah.
my mom, who lived nearby, somehow in my head, I was like, oh, she's sick too. And she did turn out to be sick too. But Frank managed not to get sick somehow. And so we got through it. But oh my gosh, that's hard. Those
Yeah,
days, those
yeah,
days. And it
yeah,
never happened like that again. So that's the good news. Like I
yeah,
decided it was going to be a regular occurrence, and that never happened to that level again. Thank God, because that was a
yeah.
bad few days.
Yeah. But I think moms in general, we're gonna beat ourselves up no matter what.
Yeah.
We just are. Like everybody talks about like, oh, don't worry about being the perfect mom. That's why you roll out of bed. You're trying to do everything so perfectly and so wonderfully. You want them to be safe. You want them to be
Yeah.
fed. You want them to have the best of everything, right? And so I think you can't help but feeling a little bit guilty about
Yeah.
the things that you couldn't do or you wanted to do or
Yeah.
the things you wanted to do with them or
Right.
something that you had to give up as a
Right.
result. I think that thing is real, and I think so many women and moms who we've talked to on this podcast would share this. They tell the same story no matter what their situation was.
Yeah.
Right.
And that really is good advice, though, that don't try to be the perfect mom, because like putting all that pressure on yourself is, and really they just love you. They just want to play with you. They want to,
Yeah.
and yeah, they're going to be, they're learning the world. So they're going to be really challenging times. That's the other piece
Yeah.
of that. Don't beat yourself up. Don't try to be some idea of what perfect is.
Yeah.
And you got to have some breaks. You got to have some time with your
Yes.
friends, your whatever, exercise, whatever it is. You got to, just like everyone else, you got to take care of your mental health.
Yeah.
For me, when I think of the 30s, it was kind of a blur in a lot of ways, and a lot of fun, but yeah, more kindness, more grace for us,
Yeah.
for you out there if you're listening.
Yeah.
Hey, we just wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about something very exciting that Debbie and I and our team have been working on for literally years. And that is our Cour Tools app, which is now available at the Google Play Store and at the Apple Store. And you can sign up for it now, and you will get access to all the tools we've been talking about on the podcast.
And if you're an early adopter of Cour Tools, you can get a VIP price for $49 for a lifetime. That's
Lifetime.
right.
Buy it once, and we'll keep updating it too.
Yes, yes. So we're super excited about this. Go to Apple Store, go to Google Play, and purchase it now.
Cour Tools, COUR, capital TOOLS.
Go get it.
And
Well, or in my case, I didn't know all those things. Nobody told me that.
yes.
Everyone said,
Right.
just keep pushing, just keep paying the
Yep.
bills.
Oh yeah, the
You're just
message
feeling
we were
like
getting back then
you
was
don't have
not
a choice.
healthy.
You're supposed to do it
No.
all. You're supposed to do it all. I remember thinking at one point after I had my physical, mental complete breakdown, I remember thinking women weren't built to do all these things.
So true.
They weren't made emotionally, I don't think, to take on a corporate job selling, millions and millions of dollars of whatever, and to come home and to change a diaper and to, I just don't, it just kind of, we're so, I don't want to say we're too emotional because
No, emotions are good, right?
that's what men would want us to say, right? But
Right.
we carry things so deeply in our hearts, I think, right? Like even as a corporate person, I care deeply about my customers. I care deeply about the people I'm supporting. I'm caring deeply about having to dump on someone because my child is sick and I can't show up and somebody's got to be there. Like, right?
Mm.
Where I think maybe the average guy is just like, yeah, like I'm not going to show up for one of those things and they're not going to feel too bad about it, probably,
Yeah,
right?
we
Um,
internalize a lot, and
yeah.
we caretake. Um,
Yes.
and it's not like I don't think anyone's meant to do it all. Like we shouldn't
No,
have to. This is
exactly.
one of the things that I think is more in the news lately is this emotional weight, is the emotional load in a marriage. So we're going back to
Yes.
this marriage. And I don't think that my husband and I did a great job of this. Because first of all, when you try to become superwoman, everyone else around you is like, she's got it.
Yeah.
And so that was me. Like I was doing it all. And yeah, my husband was doing work and stuff, but the difference, and I'm preaching to the choir here probably, but he comes home from work and now he's off work, but I'm still on the clock
Yeah.
always, all the time. And you do. And not like he didn't play with the kids and help with diapers and all that
Right.
he did,
Right.
but it's almost like even just that you have to ask, hey, can you do the dishes or can
Right.
like that's a load right there. It's still on you.
Yes.
You're the one that has to be
Yeah.
with this and this, making sure everything happens. Like it should be
Yeah.
joint. It should
Yeah.
be, where
It's
everybody's carrying that.
it's conscious parenting now.
Yeah.
And not just around what you're doing with your children, but the load that each one is carrying, right? You actually are conscious about like, oh, my wife did X, Y, and Z and da 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 da, and she deserves to not do this tonight, and she needs to go take a bath while I'm doing X, Y, and Z, right?
Right.
So you're splitting up the task, but it's not always
Right.
just, it's not assumed that, the
Right.
woman is always going to do all those things because she's really good at it.
Right.
Like
Did
the
you eat?
laundry and the
Do
cooking.
you have dishes? Do you wear clothes? Like
Yeah.
this is everybody's job.
Yes.
And sometimes one person wants to cook and one wants to clean. Like these are all fine, but the idea is that we're sharing this. We're in this together. We're both doing these things. Same thing with the kids stuff. It's not just like I'm in charge of making sure all this happens. It's we're checking in, we're working together. And that I
Yeah.
do see a lot of younger folks doing that better. I think I see a lot
Yes.
of younger men who are more aware of those things, and that's so good.
Yeah.
That's good for them. It's good for the
Yeah.
marriage, it's good for the kids, and it's what you model too. So when you've got a husband who never does the dishes, that's what the kids learn. Oh, it's a man's job. And that's,
Yeah.
we need to break these old paradigms,
Yeah.
break them, smash them, throw them away, set them on fire, and explode them so that they can never come back.
Yes.
That that man's work, woman's work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
shout out to all the stay-at-home dads who
Yeah.
are they're loving their kids and taking care of the kids, and the moms are like, wouldn't that have been lovely if Debbie had that situation? Then she would
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah. I
that's
I I'm in,
newer for the
I'm in
most
this
part.
same old neighborhood and I see lots of men now. They either got them
Yeah,
strapped on the front or
love
they're
it.
pushing the stroller and they got the dog and they're off to school in the morning. I'm like, I give them a big thumbs up, right?
Yes,
While I'm
yes,
driving
yes,
by, like
yes.
that's awesome.
And
That is just
normalize
awesome.
that. Yeah, just
Yeah.
normalize that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
that's
that.
so cool.
Yeah.
So now, the kids are grown up. So next stage is grandkids, maybe one day. I'm kind of hoping, but I'm not holding my
Yeah,
breath
I
either,
did.
right?
When I was Frank and he had a trip to Denver for a conference. And so I went along with him. So, okay, so let me back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So this year in January, and I think I might have mentioned this before in a previous podcast, but I was leading a meditation at my spiritual center in January. And when you're meditating and you really are open, a lot of times I get incomings of things. Well, I got the hardest incoming that was time for me to stop selling real estate. So I've been selling real estate part-time really, and then doing the podcast and our nonprofit. And then I had another nonprofit. So I had my things spread. And then of course, household stuff, but I just had this strong incoming it was time to let that go. And so I kind of came out of that meditation. I was like, oh, I'm not going to sell it. And it felt very It felt good. It felt like a real release. And then in the time since then, and I mentioned this, it was a few months later that I was driving our RV, which my parents handed their RV down to us. So we now have this little C-Class RV that I love. I was driving it to get it worked on. And I do love driving the RV, but I'm driving it and I'm just singing along to music. And I'm thinking, I had this very strong thought top, and why are you so happy? Why am I so happy? And I really wanted to look at it, not like, don't be happy, but like the awareness. Debbie and I talk about awareness. So I was like, what is it? Why something's really good now? What is it? And part of it was dropping real estate. And for me, that was part of it. Wasn't that I didn't like real estate. I did. I like working with people. But when I was selling real estate, there was a constant guilt that I wasn't doing enough. I should be taking more classes, that I should be marketing myself, which I didn't love doing. I should be going out and meeting clients. I should cold call, whatever, all the stuff that I did not want to do. And so letting that go was just huge in just being more joyful. And it's not like I don't have anything else to do. I've got our nonprofit and the podcast. I'm still active with my spiritual center, but just being able to let that go was like a huge just thing in my peace of mind. And then as I think of that, I was just thinking of this last week about decades, not necessarily because we're doing this stage of life. It just came into my mind, but I was thinking, boy, my 50 to now, I'm 59. I'm going to be 60 right before the end of the year. So this decade, 50 through 59, has been the best decade. I've been so happy, so joyful, and just loving my life. And so I was thinking how interesting that is, because I don't think I would have expected that. And I think some people might dread turning 50. Don't do it. 50s are awesome. Like
Yes.
all those out there, I have loved my 50s. And part of it is letting shit go, like letting the ideas of what I should do, what other people think. 50s has been a time of shedding that. And it doesn't just drop off. You shed it, you shed it, you shed it. It comes back, you shed it. And then less and less, right? And you remind yourself less about that. So that was one thing that I had kind of, and then from there I thought, well, what was the hardest decade? And for me, it was the 40s. 40 to 49 just was hard times. And part of that might be teenagers, because that's when my kids were teenagers. Mental health issues with them, like just all kinds of stuff. So don't fear. My motto there is don't fear your 50s. Enjoy your and don't fear anything. Do the best to find the joy where you are. But I don't know, when you get to your 50s, a lot of times I think it's easier.
Well, I am older than Marci, and I am 61.
Barely.
So I have some wisdom for her too.
Okay. Tell me how great 60s are, because I'm ready.
60s are awesome. Like it's just, for me, it's just reflection on all of it, just like what you're kind of going through right now, but to be able to look back and to be able to understand that it was all part of, and has been and is and continues to be all part of this beautiful journey that we call life. And there is no perfect way to do it. Marci and I get on here and talk to all these amazing people, and then we go, wow, if we had only known these things, or if we think of our parents and if they had only known. I think that's been the biggest thing that we have learned doing this podcast is there are no regrets. We're all just doing the best we can with what we have in the moment. And I am just looking forward to the next 30 years. I'm going for 90 something.
Absolutely. Oh,
I'm going for 90 something.
You're going to probably break 100. I think you definitely will.
So I'm all into this longevity. That's going to have to be another conversation. But Marci and I wanted to talk about stages of life, about our stages of life, because we have been around for a little bit, and we do have some things to share. But
I want to reiterate what you just said about everyone's doing the best they can. Like this is a piece of advice, a piece of knowledge that will transform you if you really take that to heart for yourself, knowing that you're just doing the best and that you were just doing the best. Because we can go back and, like I say, beat yourselves up. That was me, vacuuming the living room every day, managing the 2 kids. I was just doing my best. I can look back and say, I would do it differently. I can't go back and do it differently, but I can not beat myself up. I can know that I was doing my best. And now, God, we have the best relationship with our kids. They came yesterday for our anniversary. They took us out to lunch, and we were thinking, oh, it's our anniversary. You know, both of us are like, do not want to go to some fancy dinners, the two of us. We want to do something with our kids. It's so
Yep.
fun. It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah. So know that you are doing the best you can. Know your parents were doing the best they could, still are if they're still here. Kids are doing the best they can. That guy who just cut you off is doing the best they can. Like everybody's out
Yes.
there. They're all having their lives and they're doing the
Yes.
best they can. And sometimes it looks like shit and sometimes it looks like magic.
Yeah.
But we're all doing the best we can. And sometimes we don't even know when we do this stuff, like people cut you off or whatever. Sometimes they have no idea and you're back there yelling at them. So
Yeah.
give people a break, starting with yourself. Give yourself a break. Give your family a break. Give the world a break. The world needs a break right now.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're going to do some meditation.
Yes, I'm ready.
This is something that
ready.
we like to do together and we want to share with you. So whether you're watching or listening, as long as you're not driving a car or operating heavy machinery, you're doing that and you're able to pull over for a minute or save this and listen to this piece later. This is a chance to take a few moments for yourself, to get quiet, to go within, to breathe, to calm your nervous system. So if you're able, let's do that together. For those who are not really meditators, you can meditate in any position, but get comfortable if you can. If I'm in a chair, I like to sit up nice and straight. You can lie down. I like that idea of stretching the body out and allowing chi or energy to flow through. So that's why the straight spine, uncrossed legs. I like everything to feel like flow is going through me. And I like to allow my eyes to close. If that's comfortable for you, allow your eyes to close. If not, you can keep them open. You can blur them. You can sort of stare at something. You can find a little object or something that you just focus on. The idea is to sort of let the world go for a moment and turn within. Receive a deep breath in. When you slow the breathing, you start to calm your nervous system. So mindfully breathe more slowly than usual. Breathing in deeply and then releasing it slowly, intentionally. And then you focus on that breath for a little bit. That's one of the ways to let yourself just drop in. Receiving and blowing out that air. Any thoughts that come into your mind, you can just set them aside. Don't judge yourself. Just set it aside. I'll think about that later. Right now, I'm focused on my breath. I'm focused on the calmness that I'm sending through my body. You can just sort of mentally go through your body from your head down through your face, just relaxing, dropping any tension. Pay attention to your jaw. That's a place we hold tension. The shoulders. Try to let them just sink down, drop. Through your torso, down through your hips and your legs, your knees, your calves, your feet, letting it go. Out the upper arms, the elbows, the lower arms, and the fingertips. Releasing tension, releasing stress, releasing any ideas about what you need to do later. Giving yourself this moment of ease and calm and grace to just be, just breathe. And when you're in this space where your mind is open and your body is calm and relaxed, you make space for the universe to bring things to you. When I say the universe, it's God, it's nature, it's spirit, it's science, it's whatever word works for you as a divine energy that is flowing in as and through you, and that is here for your good, that created you, that loves you, that lives you. So opening up to that energy to receive what's yours to receive, whether it's a new idea, inspiration, something to put down, like a career that just is no longer serving you, or a practice, and a habit, whatever. Just let that drop in, whatever's yours to know, whatever insight you're open to. And this is a time when you can also ask a question. If you've been struggling with something, this is a place to ask that question. What's mine to do next? How do I handle this situation? Should I sell my house? Should I move to another state? Whatever you're struggling with, you can ask it and receive the answer. And before we come back out of this, just know that if something didn't drop in while we were doing this, that it can be coming to you. If you asked a question or open that space, just stay awake and aware to it if it drops in later. And know that you can do this anytime. And you can do it for a lot longer if you've got the time. You can sit somewhere in nature, in your room, somewhere you're comfortable and safe, and just be and just breathe. And just allow that. You don't have to be on your phone. You don't have to be doing work. You don't have to be exercising. You can just be, because just how you are is perfect. You are perfect, whole, and complete right now, just as you are. And I give you permission to say yes to that. And so now bringing our attention back to the room we're in, the space we're in. When you're ready, you can just allow your eyes to open and come back to this room, to wherever you are. Continue to breathe calmly. Don't rush out. And what some people like to do is have a piece of paper or a notebook and just jot down anything that dropped in. But again, stay open, especially if you asked a question, because your answer is coming. And take time to meditate yourself. You deserve it. So I think that's it for us today, friends. Whatever stage of life you're in, we're glad that you joined us. And we hope that you are just taking time for yourself and enjoying it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Love you, podcast friends.
Yes. Hey, warrior moms. As we started this podcast, we had determined that part of what we were going to do is to create a community. So we have decided to take it to another level, and we have started our own Facebook community in addition to the Warrior Parent podcast, and it's called
From Chaos to Calm, a sanctuary for moms. Here's what it looks like. It's on Facebook right now. Please go and join it. And just to let you know, we're going to create our Blue Sky accounts right now. We're getting prepared as we watch this weird stuff go on in America. So we may be shifting the whole group to Blue Sky. Just be aware that we got you. You're going to start here. If this turns out to be not a safe place anymore on Facebook, then we will shift over. But what we're creating is a safe space where moms can show up and get information, get support, talk to each other about the things you're going through with your kids, the things you went through with your kids, maybe get some advice from moms, but also other experts. We're going to invite all of our guests and experts to join the group. I hope you will too. This is a place where you can show up and be seen and be heard and be safe. Mom's got you.
Nobody trusts anyone more than moms. So let's do this.
And now for your core mental health break. This is your opportunity to take a moment to support your mental wellness, your peace of mind, your own ease and grace. Take some time every day to support your mental health. You deserve it, and it matters.
Today's journaling prompt is a good one, and it is, I am so grateful for. Gratitude is a practice that will magnetize that which we want and bring more of it to us. So take out your journal, take out a piece of paper, use your phone, and write these words, I am so grateful for, and then just start filling in all the things you're grateful for. Keep writing, keep letting it come through. Enjoy your journaling.
Thanks for listening to the Warrior Parent Podcast, which is a production of our nonprofit, Cour Experience, who also creates and distributes Cour tools. You can find us at courexperience.org. Make sure you join us next week for another informative conversation to help you and your family show up mindfully, purposefully, and joyfully with each other and in your community.
Our Cour Tools platform consists of a number of proven tools and techniques that are designed to reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm in spite of what's going on in your world. We want to thank Samuel Hale, LLC, for sponsoring this podcast. Technical and marketing support comes from Inspire Your Brand. Our podcast editor is Justin Beeden. Opinions expressed by guests do not necessarily reflect those of the hosts, the producers, or the financial supporters. I'm Debbie DiManno.
And I'm Marci Mitchell. Thanks for listening. If you resonate with the idea of creating a community to help support kids and families, won't you join us by following the podcast and sharing this episode? You can even write a review. It truly does take a village, and we appreciate you.